Hi, good morning or good afternoon, depending on when you watch this video. And well, as I was talking to Aida this morning, and she told me that you prefer that I recorded the video instead of doing the class. And as I didn't tell you anything the other day, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so it is not going to be very long. I think it will last, I don't know, half an hour more or less. But I didn't want that you lose this class, and well, I'm going to explain you the PowerPoint that I already uploaded you before the holidays. Okay, so this is the Unit 8, and we are going to talk about what is physical activity in natural environment. So all the things that involve a natural physical activity in a natural environment. Okay, so the characteristics, the concept, history, and a little bit of classification, no? A kind of classification. Well, I think yes. As an introduction, I will tell you that, well, from the 80s more or less, many sports started to appear in natural environment in a recreational way, because people started to enjoy of the natural environment. It was an increase of the interest of people, the interest of the people for this kind of activities. So it started to develop a kind of industry around the natural activities or physical activity in natural environment. Okay. Nowadays there are many places many places, many enterprise, or we can say, or many people that are working in this world, and they develop their activities as a guide or, I don't know, instructor, all these kind of activities. And as you can see here, there is a map of a kind of island that later I will show you in a video, or I will upload you the link to watch a space that is entirely designed to develop activities in natural environment. So it's quite artificial, but it's natural activities physical activities in natural environment. Okay, so it has educational values. It develops the socialization, different kinds of sport activities that improve the physical condition. And besides, natural environment provides or make people think that they are doing something that it's a bit more, I don't know, how do you say that? Not interesting, but there is a kind of risk. So it's quite emotional. It's not the word, but I don't know how to explain it. But people really like physical activities in natural environment, and you can do it in natural environment or in some spaces that are designed to recreate the natural environment. Okay, as an historical evolution, physical activity in natural environment was something that the people do just to survive, no? Because they live in they used to live in natural environment, so they have to develop their physical activity in natural environment. They had to hunt the animals, or just move from one way to another way, or if they wanted to find a place where they wanted to sleep, sometimes they have to climb, or this kind of things. So it's a survival perspective, or utilitarian, we can say, no, or spontaneous contact with natural environment, because they used to live in this space. In the ancient world, when the society started to develop, like Egyptians or Greeks or Roman, they started to create activities, no, or as a kind of game, not only to survive, but related with the survival habits, we can say. They started to develop these activities in natural environment, like archery, that it was a game, but it was also a way of hunting or boxing, that because they used to fight with another communities, or with animals sometimes, or also sailing or nautics, that they started to do some kind of competitions, but also it was a way of living. Greeks, they started, as you know, to develop the Olympic Games. And Romans, they have fights, wars, and violent spectacles in an open space that was the arena, no? And then, well, that's an intro, as you can see. Some, I don't know, we say physical activity in natural environment, in Spanish, actividad física en el medio natural, okay? As the way that we started to know right now, started after the 1960s. But between the 1492, that was when we discovered America, no? And 1960, we saw many cultures or philosophies or pedagogic ways that they started to use the natural environment as a way of teaching the students, and as something that they thought that was a contact that was necessary between people and between the people and their development. If they wanted to develop a whole personality, the whole personality, they need to keep in contact or keep in touch with the natural environment. Because between these years, before this year, they thought, because of the religions and these things, that living in the countryside or moving or doing things in the natural environment was something related with poor people, because the rich people, they tried to avoid this contact with natural environment. Okay, so first we found the French school, the plein air, refer to all kinds of activities in nature. They call it plein air. And Amoros was one of the promoters, we can say, or the person that started to promote this sport in natural environment. Rousseau and another, we can say, educationalists, but teachers or pedagogues or even philosophers talk about a more global term, activities. No, they talk in a more global term, about the activities in the nature. And they say that it was necessary a relation between natural environment and their children, because of this contact they could develop in a better way. And they started to do some kind of mountaineering and trekking and bivouacking, sleeping in the mountains, and they did many activities in contact with natural environment. And Hebert started to develop the natural gymnastics, that now it's again, on fashion, we can say. And there is a new school, that critical format. The new school was quite criticized with the formal and academic, formal school, or the way that the academic content was taught. So they started to do. It's something that we do right now. We talk about key competencies, competencias claves, and we talk about different intelligences like kinesthetic, musician, and all these things. And they thought that only knowledge without the place where we have to put it in. To put it into a context, we can say, was quite empty. So if we wanted to develop or we wanted to teach something, we need to make it a bit more practical, to put it into a context. Okay, so they started to criticize the formal academic and the way that it was teaching. There is a film that is, ¿cómo se llama? There is. Later I will tell you that it's about the 60s, more or less, and it talks about this one, La Lengua de las Mariposas. And you can see how the teacher bring the children to the school, to the countryside, and they teach the plants directly with the plants and these things. Okay, and it also started to appear the scouting, the scout movement. So children and young people educating values through activities in the nature. About the contemporary age, we also have the second half of the 19th century and the first half of 20th century, that it was when the Baron Pierre de Coubertin started to develop to create the Olympic movement that you already know, but also it was a process of institutionalization of the activities. So the clubs started to appear not only for natural activities but also for the rest of activities, like football clubs. As you know, the majority of them, they have around 100 years or less. No, the first ones started in the 1892 was the Barcelona, if I remember, or I don't know. Also, for example, the FEMEC, the Federació d'Esports de Muntanya i Escalada de la Comunitat Valenciana, no? The Valencian Federation. This year ¿cómo se dice? Cumple. It's his centenary, no? This year, 2023, next year. And the national one was 2 years ago, I think, if I remember well. Okay, so it started to appear, all these federations and clubs, and the institutionalization started to develop. In the contemporary age, as we were talking, the second half of the 20th century to the present day, new sports are appearing many day by day, we can say, or in the last years, like, I don't know, Nordic walking, and now it's water. There is another evolution. I don't remember the name. Later I will tell you. In the water, and new wind sports, like, for example, now we have the foil, no, in the water and the wind, and I don't know, in the snow there are also new sports, and bicycles started to appear some years ago, and now we have the e-bikes and all these things that are developing. So there are new adventurous sports or new sports, and okay, and all these names that you can see here are the way that they are, I don't know, they call them, but they are appearing, and the development of these activities is increasing day by day. So it's good for us because we will have more works, more job for us. And proliferation in this countryside, the people needs to go to the countryside. They like to go there to forget about their works in the city and just to think and relax and feel new experiences. And because of the social networks that they show you some things that you, in another way, perhaps you will never know. And because there are appearing new material and cheaper material every day, so all these activities are available for everybody that wants to start practicing that. It's not the same if you have to spend, I don't know, 300 euros in a harness, as it was, or in a rope and whatever, than now that you have Decathlon, for example, that there are cheaper materials and you can start practicing with a lower price and these things. Okay? Yes. Okay. Concepts, we can say, or names, conceptualization, the ways that we call it. We talk about a sport adapted to the urban natural environment. Okay, those sports that are practiced in the urban environment, they arise from the need. You can read it. I don't want to read it. We have also physical sports activities in nature. Okay, some sports in the urban natural environment is sports that are calling like natural sports, but are not natural, completely natural, we can say, because they are developed in a space that is not natural, but we put it inside the pack of all the other activities. We can say that it's in the open space. We have the physical activities in natural environment, moving individually or collectively towards more or less approximate goals by using or fighting with the elements that make up the physical environment. And secondary school minimum teaching. Inside the secondary school minimum teaching, we have activities in natural environment. Okay, like sometimes mountain biking or orienteering, or these things that we can put it. Well, there is a block of contents in the curriculum where we have to develop these things. But at the end, all of these things are physical activities of adventure, we can say, in nature. Okay, they are another name. A characteristic of the physical activities in natural environment. First of all, they are physicals, so we need to use our body, no? No, not only our brain. We cannot imagine that we are doing a trekking. We need to go there and do a trekking. But also, normally the majority of them are in a recreational way, recreational type, we can say. They are carried out freely and voluntarily because we do it because we want. The majority of them, ¿vale? Are not competitive, but now there are competitions. For example, trail running is a natural physical activity in natural environment, and there are competitions, or mountain biking, or I don't know, even climbing. There are, but the majority of the people, they don't start practicing it because they want to compete. They start to practicing it because they like these activities, and then little by little they start to move inside the competitive world. But despite of it, even if they were not competitions, you could do it in a recreative way. Okay, so we say that they are physical and recreational type, basically, because and there are no trekking competitions, or there are not, I don't know, alpinism. The alpinism is not also a competition, even when you do activities like flying or whatever, with I don't know, how do you call it? I don't remember, when you run and you float in the air. Sorry. Vale. The majority of them, we can say not all of them, but the majority of them always involve moving through the environment. Even if you go to climb and you go to a wall and you stop and you start moving there, you need to go through the natural environment until you arrive to the wall, But also when you are moving, but when you are climbing, you are moving, but you are moving up and down, but not in an horizontal way, but in a vertical way. It involves the use of natural means of effort. It means muscular strength, or we can use also the wind and the water. For example, if you are doing windsurfing, you are using the wind. Or when you are flying, in ala delta, or I don't remember the one that I tell you, salto base, the other one. I don't remember. You are using the wind or the water or whatever, okay? Or when you are in a mountain bike on the slope, you use the terrain to go down. When you are going up, you use your muscles, but when you are going down, you use the terrain. It's from it's supposed that we never use motors. For example, we don't put, or we shouldn't put inside the physical activity in the natural environment motocross or quads or these activities. Okay, sometimes are related, and if you go to an agency that they organize activities, probably they will have quads, or perhaps even something related with motocross or these things. But it's supposed that we are environment friendly, we don't have to contaminate. So if we are contaminating, that's not a physical activity in natural environment. Okay, or we shouldn't call it a physical activity in natural environment. It's a motor activity, una actividad motor. Okay, I forgot to translate it. Sorry, it forced to pay attention. It also, one of the characteristics that it's forced to pay attention to the environment, to the place where you are moving. Why? Because we are not in a controlled element. It's even if we know where we are moving, we say that it's an activity there are always, how do you say, uncontrollable factors. Okay, we say that due to the technical complexity, it's safe. It's not always safe. It's a safe practice, but you don't control everything. So you need to pay attention to the place where you're practicing it, and because it's not a controlled space or like a football court, but it's plain and there is grass or whatever, and then you play and that's all. No, you are in the middle of the sea, or you are in the middle of the mountain, or you are flying, and there are always elements that you cannot control, like a wave that can appear, or if you are in a cliff, the river can go because in another part is raining, and then it will increase the level of the water and you can drown, or you can fall down because the terrain is not plain. Okay, so they depend on the characteristics of the environment. You can read it here, and uncontrollable factors. Here it is. Changing diverse and complex environment that generates uncertainty. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. That it's an uncertain terrain, no, an uncertain place where we practice. So that's the reason, one of the reasons why people like it, because because sometimes it involves some kind of challenge, no, for these people. But there is a risk that you have to accept and try to control in a way. So there are some risks that we cannot control, but there are some risks that we can control. If we know about the weather, if we know about how we use the material, we can reduce this risk. Okay, so you are doing an activity in natural environment in a correct way if you know that there is a risk and you control more or less this risk and you accept this risk. But if you accept a risk but you are not prepared to afford some activities like using the ropes or whatever, probably you are doing something that it's not correct, we can say, no? Or if you are bringing people and you don't control these risks, you are in an uncontrolled risk, you could be in a problem easily. Okay. Some of the characteristics that we can find: motivation. There is an active participation. It's not something passive. All the people that are practicing it are active. If you are climbing, because you are climbing, but if you are down, controlling the person, you are also in an active way. When we are doing, I don't know, barranquismo, or we are doing kayaking, or we are doing whatever. Parapent was the activity that I wanted to tell you before. All these activities require an active participation. There is a global involvement, appreciation of the nature, enjoyment and contemplation, because you not only is motivator but also a relaxed. There is motivation but also a relaxed time for you. It increases your self-esteem and it helps you to encounter or to find yourself. It says so. That's the marketing of these activities. Many people talk about the marketing of sensations because they play with it, with the sensations that all these activities like speleology or cards shouldn't be here, but cycling, skating, or canoeing, whatever, all these things provides, the sensation that it provides. Vale. About the classification, we can talk about the essentials like walking or even orienteering. Not orienteering, we can say orientation more than orienteering. Orienteering is the sport, but orientation, knowing how to move through the nature, are the essential one. Also camping, or how to control the fire, some kind of constructions like a tent or a bivouac, in English, bivouac. Also the knots, some knots are essential ones, and later we have another complementary like canoeing, climbing, sailing, that involves materials and other things, sport activities and survival activities, outdoor sports, like we can say that also natural actions. There are physical activities in natural environment, beach volley or beach rugby or handball, beach handball, all these things. We have also adventure sports like climbing, we can put it together, or ferratas or rafting, whatever. And another things that we need to know as a complement is utility activities like first aid. That it could be construction or caballeria, could be inside the first aid, but because it's you need sometimes to know how to do a VBAC to protect a person that is has a problem, twisted his ankle or whatever. Okay, some games also in natural environment to enjoy. If you are in a route with some kids, you need to know some games or track and trails activities games that helps to enjoy the activity, not only the trekking, but also some activities to make it more funny overall for little kids and these things. Okay, and of course we need knowledge of the environment and environmental education, like the itineraries. We saw the other day the PRs and the GRs, no, PRs y GRs, and different areas like protected areas, natural trails, ecological trails, because we can do different kind of trekkings depending on, for example, some are related with the plants, to know some specific plants, or another ones to know to arrive until the top of the mountain or whatever. Okay, there are all these things. There are protected areas for the animals, or for the plants we can go to visit some animals, no, and watch them and these things, ¿vale? And another kind of classification, we can classify this the activities, the ones that are in the water, in the earth, in the ice, in the snow. Well, some of them are sometimes they are together, but not always, because for example we can do climbing in the ice, but we cannot climb in the snow. And in the air, no, depending on the element. And for you it was going to do a questionnaire, but we are not going to do it. We're going to mention some characteristics of natural based activities that make it different from other activities. Okay, we will do it the next day in the class, we can talk about it. And a ver if I can. No. Jolín. There is a video that I will put you now, and you can watch it. That shows you El Anillo, that is the place that I told you before, with the ring in the middle. And I will try to show you. I will try to open it here. Wait a second. Let me see. I don't know if you can watch it more or less. Let's well, that's the place that I told you. Okay, it's in Granadilla, in Extremadura. It's a big complex that, well, you can visit the page later if you have time. I am not going to put you more videos, but there are many videos of the Anillo. Yeah, there are some rooms or classes where you can study about it, but inside the area there are some trees and plants, and very close to here there are some places where you can do physical activity in natural environment. Okay, well, that's all. Well, I will leave you to finish it. We can do activities in the water, we can do activities in the earth, and that's all. Okay. And finally, about the last work, the project, we have to do 2 works, and we can introduce to our class during the presentation that we do on Thursdays, or the didactic unit or the project. And about the project, you have to take into account these points. Okay, the project should have these points. First, the presentation of the organizers. Who are you? The 3. There is an introduction or description of the sport event. Who is aimed? The age group, collective. Who is directed it? Yeah, when you do the physical activity, sorry, the didactic unit, we say that it is focused on fourth course of la ESO, blah, 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 blah. Here is the age of the students, more or less, or from 15 till to 20 years or whatever. If there is an activity or is a competition or is I don't know, whatever it was going to be, the way you will promote your activity, not you don't have to do it during the presentation of the Thursday. I say during in the work you have to give to me, the work you have to give me. Sorry. The marketing, communication, information. How are you going to promote this activity? So I will have a, I don't know, Instagram channel and Facebook page or whatever, or we will do some advertisements in the radio or whatever. And if it is, imagine that it's a competition, the things that we are going to develop, it's a race. You are going to organize a trail running race. Okay, how we will register for this event? We have to apply somewhere. It's a Google form where you have to register. It's a page where, like for example, MyChip or Chrono Jump, or no, there are Chrono Jump, no Chrono Sport. Chrono Jump, it's a platform, is another thing. Which page are you going to use to allow the people to register? Okay, the human resources you will need, the work areas, the space you will need, necessary materials and equipment, facilities. So it's a natural activity. It's an urban or a sport space, because you can do a physical activity in natural environment, in a rocódromo, or I don't know, imagine that, as I told you, something related with surf, but you are going to start, or you are going to do something related with skate. I forgot, no, you can go to a pump park, no, or whatever. The trophy ceremony, if there is if it's a competition, or how will be the categories and these things, or other planned events that you have. If you need to talk about the permissions, I say permissions, or if there is an insurance or coverage, you need to check in internet how much it costs to do an insurance for a sport activity for X participants or whatever. Okay, and the budgets that you will have or you have. Okay, those are the points that you need to put in your project. Okay, and that's all. My class is finished. I hope you enjoyed the class. I'm going to I hope you understand everything, and if you have any doubt, the next day, next Tuesday in the class, we will talk about it, and I will solve all the problems or whatever you need. And thank you for your attention. Right, I'm going to stop it. Bye bye, and see you on Tuesday. Bye.